Hey, I wanted to do a live for veterans out there. So we're going to talk about veterans benefits and Social Security, veterans benefits and Social Security disability, veterans benefits and Medicare, and this is also a live Q&A as well. Looks like I've already got a bunch of questions. And let's see. I think one of our regular Tweety Bird X said it the best, so let's pop her up here. May we bow our heads in remembrance and give thanks to those who gave their last blood and treasure to keep us safe at home. Thank you for that sentiment. Absolutely, absolutely. So, for those veterans out there, anybody that lost a family member or friend in the line of duty, this is for y'all out there. So my name is Ed Weir. I ran the third business Social Security office, and I was also a veteran a little bit in the old Marine Corps times, East China Sea, the Okinawa, Japan there. I think when I actually had more hair at the time, but anyway. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about all things veterans. And my website, which let me go ahead and pop up it's mygovexpert .com. So you can click on that, and it's got information on retirement benefits, disability, survivor, family benefits, for instance. So, but in terms of veterans benefits, just added a couple of new sections there. The living overseas and the veterans benefits just went live today. So I'm going to use that. We'll go through this. And help those veterans out there. And if you've got any question, make sure you type it in chat there. If you're watching this in a recording later, make sure you share and subscribe and all that kind of good stuff so you can come back. Okay, one of the first things is retirement. Let's focus on retirement and veterans benefits. When you file for retirement benefits, one of the things they ask you, I know because I've done this hundreds of thousands of times when I worked at Social Security, it's, did you ever serve in the military? And then you tell them when you served in the military, the dates from this date to that date, and they put it in the system. If you have a DD 214 at that time, it usually helps. But over the last few years, the Social Security Administration has been coordinating with NARA.gov, and the computer system at Social Security talks to that system. So you usually don't have to provide a DD 214 anymore. But if for some reason it doesn't talk to the other computers out there at Social Security, then they'll ask you for a DD 214. And what it is it gives you a little bit of extra bonus. Not very much, but hey, a buck's a buck, right? So basically, from 1940 to 1956, if you served, you get an extra $160 per month added to the earnings. It's like you actually earned an extra $160 back in 1956. From 1957 to 1977, they give you an extra $300 per quarter. So we're talking $100 a month. And again, people, social media land out there, what they often do is, hey, you can get extra $100 a month if you do this, that, and if you click this button, are you eligible? And click this button and watch my video, and then it tells you, well, no, you're not going to get an extra $100 a month today in benefits. What they do is they add $100 of earnings back to 1976 or whatever the case may be. Again, it doesn't usually increase your benefit by very much, but again, a buck. And the same type of thing from 1978 to 2001. So if you served during one of those times, after 2001's, there's no change. Everything was automatic at that time. So if you served one of those times, just make sure you're getting. Usually when you file for benefits, they ask you if you served in the military. Okay, let's switch on to disability. Can you get SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance, and VA disability? Absolutely. They are completely different, though. VA disability you must be service connected. You can work and collect benefits. Social Security disability benefits are completely different eligibility requirements. You're essentially not able to work substantially. If you are approved for VA benefits, that does not automatically approve you for Social Security disability insurance. In my office, we had I think about half of my staff in my office of 100 employees. I think a half of them were veterans, and probably half of those were receiving VA disability benefits, 10%, 20%, 30%. And they were working, so they weren't eligible for SSDI. because VA, the Veterans Administration, has 10%, 20%, 30% service connected disability. Social Security is you're disabled or not, period. And again, different eligibility requirements. But you can, if you're receiving veterans disability benefits and you're unable to work because of that disability benefits, absolutely. Please, 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 if you know anybody out there, please have them file for Social Security disability insurance. They paid for it. If they can't work because of a disability, then they definitely earned it. So make sure you reach out to them and make sure they're getting all the benefits they need and are eligible for. Okay. And one does not offset the other. So there is no offset, because you're getting VA disability, that doesn't reduce the amount of Social Security disability benefits or vice versa. And there's also what's called an expedited processing. So if you're 100% permanent and total disability, also what's called a wounded warrior program, then those are expedited. I say the word expedited. There's nothing really expedited nowadays with the Social Security Administration because they're barely treading water because of all the staffing cuts. But hopefully, if you apply for disability, hopefully it goes through quicker rather than later. Anyway, so reach out to your politician and say, hey, we shouldn't treat our veterans like that. If they file for disability, they need their disability. They should be expedited like Congress intended for them to be expedited. Everybody should be expedited. So anyway, shouldn't have to wait 9 months, a year, 2 years to get your Social Security disability benefits approved if you're disabled. All right. What about Medicare? Let's move on to veterans and Medicare. All right. One of the things so let's break it down into two different categories. We got people that, like myself, I only served 8 years in the Marine Corps. It's like 20 years in all the other services. But anyway, only 8 years. So I'm not eligible for Tricare for life. Tricare is basically a retirement medical health insurance from the VA, the government. Okay. I could be eligible for regular old VA benefits. Anybody that served in the military 4 years, 8 years, 12 years, whatever the case may be, if they fulfill the eligibility requirements, then they could be eligible for VA benefits. Don't have to retire. Don't have to be retired. So those people that just use the local VA clinic, let's talk about them first. It sounds like there's going to be a lot of cuts to the VA, and a lot of people out there say, well, I don't want to get Medicare because I have the VA and I'm happy with the VA. One of the reasons they don't want to get Medicare is because Medicare Part B costs $185. And they say, well, if I already have the VA, I'm happy with the VA. It's close by, good customer service relatively. I already have Part A. That's zero premium. If you have Social Security benefits, you have Part A if you're over 65. But they say, I'll refuse Part B. I don't want to pay the $185 because I don't need it. I've got the VA. Okay, fine. A lot of people choose that. But what happens when the VA is not as awesome as it is today? Once they start getting cutbacks, once they start letting go tens of thousands of people, which they were talking about recently, what happens then? If you change your mind later and then sign up for Part B, then you're going to be penalized 10% for every 12 months you did not have Part B. And you can't sign up until the general enrollment period, January, February, March. So if something happens in July, you need extra care, whatever the case may be, you're out of luck. You have Part A, but you don't have Part B. So you can't sign up until January, February, or March, and then you're penalized for the rest of your life. So one of the options is to go ahead and just, bite the bullet, pay the $185, get your Part B just to be on the safe side. But one of the other options is Medicare Advantage plans. Everybody knows, regular viewers know, I always recommend checking out Medicare supplement plans first. Those are the ones, Plan N, Plan G. But if you have the VA and you're pretty much happy with it, you just want to, kind of hedge your bets, a Medicare Advantage Honor Plan, or Patriot Plan, they're called, might be a really, really good option, because a lot of those, they pay for part of your Part B premium. So you sign up for the Medicare Advantage plan, and Part B give back. It pays maybe $50 of the $185, $100, or all of it. It depends on your particular area. So you can kind of have your cake and eat it too. You can have your VA, but you also got a fallback, and you're not having to pay the full $185. Most of those honor plans don't include prescription drug plans as part of it, because that's one thing the VA is really, really good at, is prescription drugs, because they're able to negotiate. Yeah, so you definitely usually use the VA pharmacy. Really good, benefits for the VA pharmacy. So if you want to check out that option, you can reach out to our partners there at Chapter, and they can see if there's one of those give back plans in your particular area. If you can't sign up for that now, just tell them, hey, when can I sign up? And they'll tell you, okay, in October, you should be able to switch over to one of the honor plans. And this is eligible. Anybody can get one of these, even though it says honor plan or patriot plan. If you or someone has a hard time paying that $185, then you can sign up for one of those patriot honor plans. You don't have to be a veteran, and you just sign up for the Part B give back part of it. And depending on what's happened in your particular area, you might get quite a bit back in your Part B. I know there were some last year. There's some in some parts of the country that pay the entire $185. So definitely check that out and see if that is right for you. Okay, what about Tricare? Those people that actually retired from the military, and they have Tricare for life, or their spouses have Tricare for life. If you are 65 or older, you do need to be enrolled in Part A and Part B. You cannot deny Part A and Part B if you want to keep Tricare for life. Do you need a Medicare Advantage plan or a Medicare Supplement plan? No. So you have Medicare Part A and Part B, and everybody that has Part A and Part B needs to have something else in there to cover all the gaps. You have Tricare. That's all you need. So you don't need anybody else. There's some Medicare insurance agents out there that want to sell you something, so they try to sell you up for Medicare Advantage plan, and you don't really need that. There's usually a lot of bureaucratic paperwork. Some people get a little advantage getting the Medicare Advantage with their Tricare and Part A, Part B, but usually it's more trouble than it's worth. So Tricare is essentially your Medicare supplement. So usually don't need anything else. So check out my website, and it gives all the frequently asked questions on anything else you possibly might need. And if there's anything, like I said, this is a brand new page on my website. And if there's anything, you go to the home there, go down, and if you've got anything that you have suggestions, or say, hey, Ed, you need to talk about this in your veteran page. I don't understand this part. Can you explain this part a little bit easier? And I can, it's a work in progress. It is our website, and it is a work in progress. So if you want to donate, subscribe, and all that kind of stuff, that's awesome too. And then support our sponsors, who also support this channel and this live Q&A. All right, so let's get into any specific questions y'all have about all things retirement, disability, any and all of it. I'm watching a Band of Brothers 10-part series, very powerful. Yes, Band of Brothers is an awesome series. Yeah, I marathoned that one a long time ago. That was awesome. I use the VA pretty exclusively and get my Medicare from the VA, medicine from the VA, but hesitate get rid of my Plan G. Not sure what to do. $185 plus $220 for Plan G. Any advice in Connecticut? Yeah, I mean, Plan G is, kind of the gold standard. It covers all the gaps of original Medicare, except for the Part B one-time annual deductible, the $257. So if anything happens, wow, you're covered, and then covered and covered more. But yeah, then there's the $220. Yeah, if you just, we're not talking about Tricare for life. You're just talking about the regular VA. As long as you can continue paying that $220 and you're good with it, then yeah, I would probably stay with it. But if something happens to the VA and it starts, the customer service starts going down, then you'll be very, very happy you had it. If you can't pay the 220, then you might want to think about switching to a Medicare Advantage plan and have that as kind of a fallback, but continue using the VA. So let's see, 67 and still working until the end of the year. Yeah, so once you're 67, that's your full retirement age. So yeah, you can start your Social Security benefits and continue to work, and no, no negative effects on your Social Security at all. Dr. Ed served in the Marine Corps. I guarantee he knows what day it is today. Okay. Yeah. Somebody messed up Veterans Day and Memorial Day, but yeah, that's fine. It's, yeah. So I might be slightly intoxicated. Okay. Yeah. That was my nickname in the Marine Corps. It wasn't Sergeant Weir. It was One Beer Weir. So I can get you there. Yeah. A beer truck passes me on the highway and I'm out. Thanks, Dr. Ed. Anyone else that served our country, happy Memorial Day, and thank you all. Yes, thank you. Nona, if Part B single filer max for $185 premium, 106,000, and my 24 AGI is 213, will I still be charged a penalty for $1,500 over? If so, if appealable, thank you. All right, so this is the IRMA, income related monthly adjustment amount, and I've got a section on my website that talks about that. So yeah, if you're single and you're made over $106,000 2 years ago, you're going to get charged the extra premium, whether it's $1 or $500 over, whatever the case may be. Is it appealable? Can you appeal it? Absolutely, you can appeal anything, but it really depends, what it is and whether they're going to approve it or not. If it was earnings and you have since stopped working, then you have what's called a life-changing event. So you can absolutely appeal that. So you go into my website there, you click on the Medicare part, and you click on the IRMA, and then it tells you, yes, if your income has changed since your tax return from 2 years ago, what can you do? Qualifying events, and it goes in there. And I think I've got the link hooked up there where you click on the little 44 and look at there. It actually opens up into the document, into the form that you need, an SSA 44. And you just fill it out and says, yes, I made $1 billion 2 years ago, but I have since stopped working. And it gives you all of that explanation. So let's see. Semper Fi to you. Let's see. Get some questions here. Let's see. So if my spouse and I are on Tricare retired plan, do I need to do Medicare? Yes. If you have Tricare, yes. The Department of Defense, VA, requires you to get Medicare as well. And you're saying, I have Tricare. We're talking the government here. So it's one agency, Department of Defense, VA, saying, hey, we're paying all this money for retirees' health insurance. And then there's Medicare out there. So we'll just make these people sign up for Medicare, and then Medicare will pick up most of the cost, and Tricare will be kind of like the secondary payer. So it's basically the government is paying, but one agency is trying to save money by putting it over the other agency. That's why they mandate you to sign up for Part A and Part B. So Terry asks, is there going to be a stimulus check for the senior citizens? There's nothing on the horizon now. The whole Doge dividend, where they were going to save $2 trillion and therefore everybody was going to get, $5,000. Yeah, that's not going to happen. They even find half of 2 trillion. They found 150 billion, and it wasn't really any necessarily fraud. It was just a bunch of programs they didn't agree with. And so they didn't find any fraud, waste, and abuse at Social Security. They tried, but it's not as though it wasn't there. They're just looking at the completely wrong place. Advantage plans are a scam, aren't they? Not necessarily. I mean, they're definitely not the best system in the world. But if you are over 51% of people choose Medicare Advantage plans. So if you have original Part A and Part B, and you realize there's a whole bunch of financial gaps in there that you're responsible for, I know what you mean. Don't give up original Medicare and go with a Medicare Advantage plan, because that's what you're essentially doing. You're giving up original Medicare and going to a Medicare Advantage plan, and depending on that health insurance company to take care of your health. So check out Medicare Supplements Plan N and Plan G. But a lot of people, their budget just doesn't allow them to pay the monthly premium for a Medicare supplement. So rather than saying, well, I can't do that, so I won't get anything because Medicare Advantage is a scam, then yeah, you're going to be hurting a lot of, you're going to hurt, and a lot of people are going to be hurt. So Medicare Advantage, you just have to keep up on it. You have to fight if you get a prior authorization. You have to make sure your doctors are covered. You have to make sure your prescriptions are covered. And you have to do that every year because those plans are only good for 1 year. All Medicare Advantage plans disappear December 31st at midnight. They might renew the next day, but usually under the hood, there's changes and people don't check. And then when something happens, they say, oh, wait a second here. When I signed up for this, it was only $100 a night if I, had to go to the hospital. Now, how come it's 500? Well, because it's a new plan. So you got the same card, the same company, the same doctor, and you think you have the same plan. You don't. So I love this guy and his son. Oh, doing great work for We the People. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Ed, and wonderful son. Bless you both. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I will definitely pass that on. I'm sure he's watching. He keeps everything working in the back because if it was left to my devices, it'd be all messed up. I was approved for Medicare, Medi-Cal, dual, and my Part B was paid. All right. I also have a SUP Plan B that is taken out of my savings account. Should I keep both with the uncertainty as of late? Okay, a SUP Plan B. I know there's 10 letters. I'm not sure. But if you have if you have a Medicare supplement, whatever letter it is, N, G, F, whatever, and you have Medicaid, you can't have the Medicare supplement anymore. And well, you shouldn't. So I would so you have a dual plan as well. So you have Medicare, Medicaid, and a Medicare Advantage dual eligible plan. So if you have a dual plan, you can't have a Medicare supplement anyway, regardless. So yeah, you need to cancel that one or put it on hold or something like that. Usually, depending on your state, on the situation, sometimes when you get Medicaid, you can, stop or cancel your Medicare supplement plan. And then if you lose Medicaid later, that might put you in a special enrollment period where you can pick up a Medicare supplement plan. But each state is a little bit different and situation a little bit different. You can reach out to Chapter and they can, walk you through the process and let you know what you need to do to cancel it and everything like that. So, all right. Can I add my granddaughter to my benefits? I am her guardian. That is a very common question. If you are her guardian, no. So you click on the family one there, child benefits, and this is a popular question. So I did a little frequently asked question. Can my grandchild receive Social Security benefits based on your record? Essentially, the child's parents have to be deceased or disabled or you could have to adopt that child. But if the parents are deceased or disabled, then could potentially get benefits on your record. If not, then pretty much no. And there's some other things in there that definitely check out. So again, it's MyGovExpert. Let me put down the website again. So it's mygovexpert.com. And then just click on the family and then click on child benefits. And it goes into a little bit more details. But essentially, no. Yeah. For the most part, no. But again, everything with Social Security, there's exceptions, the exceptions, the exceptions. So Medicare Advantage often declines rehab. One thing about Medicare Advantage plans is, yes, they are kind of trigger happy in terms of declining, denying stuff, second guessing your doctors because, they're a health insurance company and they're looking to make money. And more money they get coming in and less going out. It's just, yeah. But it's been shown that if you fight and appeal any type of denial like that, there's usually a very, very good chance they overturn it. So it really depends on the particular situation, but a lot of initial denials are overturned on appeal. So it's important to appeal that. So 7 Elm Street says, I guess he's not answering questions. Nope, I'm answering questions. So if I just started SSI and received my first check at 63 and a half and started it as I was out of work for okay, SSI is the welfare-based program Social Security administers. You're just talking about regular Social Security, I assume. So if you just started your benefits and it sounds like you might be changing your mind or something like that, can you stop your benefits? Absolutely. I just did a short little video on that yesterday. Um, if it's within 12 months, you can withdraw your application. You have to pay all that money back that you've received from Social Security, but you can withdraw your application within 12 months. If it's after the 12 months and you want to stop your benefits, suspend your benefits because of work, then absolutely you can do that too. You just call Social Security and say, hey, I'm not going to be under the 23,400. I'm going to be quite a bit over. And they'll hold back $1 for every $2 you go over. So that'll avoid any nasty overpayments or anything like that. And the good news is, if that happens, then you won't necessarily lose that money. So here's how it goes. So let's say you take your benefits 30 months early. Okay. So you're reduced by 30 months. So every month you take your benefits early, Social Security reduces it by a few dollars for every month. People think it's a full year. No, it's every month you take it early up until 62 or 60 if you're a survivor. But your benefits are reduced. Okay, let's say you take your benefits 30 months early. And then after 10 months, you go back to work and you no longer get checks for the other 20 months. Okay. Once you hit your full retirement age and you restart your benefits, then the Social Security computer system, this is 100% automatic. The computer system looks at your record and says, this person's benefit amount is reduced by 30 months, but they only took 10 months. So they recalculate it. And then going forward, your benefits are only reduced by 10 months because that's all you got. So that's completely automatic. You don't have to do anything. Yeah, it's automatic once you hit your full retirement age and your benefits restart. So, Daryl, I am a Vietnam combat veteran who served 2 tours there, fought in the Tet Offensive. What, 1957? 1967? Tet Offensive? No, it was 69. Yeah, late 60s. Yeah, a festival there in Vietnam. Yeah, wow. That's when the president was on the air and said everything is cool and copacetic, and then our embassy was in hiding, being attacked there. Yeah, so I am not a hero, not a legend. I am one of the percent who served as a guardian of the nation. Yes, that's one of the things I found is the people that talk a lot about, usually didn't serve. They were in the military during a war, but they were in San Antonio checking out basketballs or something like that at the gym. It's the people that actually served. They're just like very, very quiet and really don't mention it that much. So yeah. But Daryl, thank you for your service. Do we have to tell Social Security that we served during that time frame, or is it already on our record? What about if we file online? Yeah, if you file online, it even if you call or anything like that, it's part of the claims path. That is, when you call and take a file for retirement or something like that, that's one of the questions in the application. So the Social Security employee asks you that because they have to fill out that little block. So they ask you, did you ever serve in the military? If you put yes, then another screen pops up where the person actually has to go in there and put the dates and stuff like that. So yeah, if you filed online, it's mandatory. If you file over the phone or in an office, it's they do it. But if you forgot to tell them you served in the military, then yeah, you definitely need to address that. And it's easy. Just call them up, call the 800 number up and say, hey, did my military service make it in there? Did I remember to tell you about my, time? Let's see, Robert, I can retire January 2026. I'll be 66 in 10 months. I'm going to continue to work full and collect Social Security. My wife is 63 now, didn't make all her hours for Social Security. Can she file for Social Security now? Well, if she is not insured for Social Security, then no. So if she didn't pay her 10 years, 40 quarters, then she cannot file. She can only file once you start your benefits, and not necessarily one, January. She can file, October, November, December or something, and then file. What they'll do is they will take a claim for benefits on her own record, and it'll be denied because she's not insured. But that allows them to go ahead and take a spouse claim on your record. So they'll take a spouse claim on your record, and then both of those benefits will start the same month. So if your benefits are going to start in January, her benefits will start January. You'll get your checks in February. Obviously, the January check comes in February. But yeah, so she can't start benefits until you start benefits, but she can file early. How does Social Security calculate your PIA at full retirement age if you haven't worked to full retirement age? Is it a projection based on your last year worked? No, I did a video on this, yesterday, a short little 3-minute video. And again, go into my website. It gives you the details. Go on to retirement, and it has in there, how is my Social Security benefit calculated? And it tells you the formula. And I'm actually coming up with a calculator. It worked, but then it stopped working. So I'm working on the calculator, making sure it's 100% correct. But it's based on your high 35 years of earnings, not your last earnings or anything like that. It's based on your high 35 years of earnings. And if you only work 30 years, then it's based on your high 35, or your high 30 plus 5 years of zeros. So they average it out. So, but if I think one of the questions you're also asking, if you're like 60 years old, how do they determine your full retirement age benefit? They project forward. I think that's part of your question. So they say, hey, your earnings are about $50,000, $60,000 a year. So we'll assume that you're going to continue working at this level and making $50,000, $60,000 a year. And that's what they project forward. So that's why it's an estimate, because if you decide to stop working or start making, 3 times as much, then that's going to change your benefit amount. So happy Memorial Day, Dr. Weir. You're welcome. Happy Memorial. When my husband of 20 years passed, he was receiving Social Security disability. As a 58-year-old widow, I was thinking of that dollar amount for survivor benefits. Would the benefits be on the 35? Yeah, it would. So whatever he was receiving, that's his PIA, his primary insurance amount. So when you receive disability benefits, you're essentially receiving your primary insurance amount. So your benefit amount is going to be determined based on his benefit amount, plus obviously the COLA increases. You're a 58-year-old widow. Okay, so you can start your survivor benefits at 60. If you're disabled yourself, you can file for DWIB benefits, disabled widows benefits, on his record. And you can do that between the age of 50 and 59. But if you're not disabled yourself, then you can start your benefits at 60 years old. And it's going to be max reduced 71.5% of his benefit amount, because you're filing early. Again, anytime you take benefits from Social Security early, it's reduced. So wacky Jackie fun. Okay. All right. If you go to the Social Security Administration official site and you either log in or you create an account, you will see in your account the exact age that you can retire with full benefits. That is correct. Or you can go to my website and go on the retirement, click on the little overview there, and you can click on your full retirement age, and it tells you exactly when your full retirement age is, 66 and 10 months or 67, and it tells you what month and year your full retirement age is. So 100% free. Kathy, I had to get Medicare at 65 with Tricare and lost money. Yeah, you have to pay the $185. So yeah. Let's see here. Kiki asks, if you get Social Security at 62 and still working when you reach 67, do your Social Security benefits increase? Yes. If you continue working at 77, 87, 97, if you continue to work and pay into Social Security, your benefits increase if that's one of your high 35 years of earnings. So, and that's automatic, 100% automatic. You don't have to do anything other than work, and pay your buddies at the IRS your taxes, your ounce of blood and payroll taxes. So, all right. I lost two friends with me in Da Nang. It was a long time in another world. Yeah. Wow. Let's see. Nathaniel, make sure they get all that money Trump getting right now. Okay. Um, Everyone in bad weather, tornadoes and T-storms, stay inside. It's crazy out. Oh gosh. Yeah. Yeah. My s- town I went to high school with at Paris, Texas, it got destroyed in 1981 by a tornado. Luckily they missed, yeah, my place. And I was living in a trailer. Our family, yeah, trailer trash, I guess. So, but yeah, usually trailers are magnets for tornadoes, but it missed us. So, Advantage plan helped me money back with Tricare. Yeah, some people, yes, some people do that. If yeah, if you're having a hard time, you can have Medicare Part A, Part B, and Tricare. And if you know that $185 is a tough pull for you, you can also sign up for a Medicare Advantage, one of the honor plans, or and get that, or Part B give back plan. Yes, but if you go to a hospital outside the system, there's just some extra paperwork you have to do and stuff. So yeah, but if you want, yeah, absolutely. Um, Bella, remember this money is your earnings, your trust fund from your wages. So remember, it's not a handout, it's your funds. All of these benefits are yours. Yes, Bella, a regular viewer, and 100%. That's all of that. All of the Social Security money and disability money and survivor spouse and the Medicare and including the Medicare Advantage, all those benefits that there's companies are saying, hey, sign up and we're so awesome. We're going to give you a gym membership and travel and a grocery card and all this kind of stuff because we're awesome like that. Aren't we awesome? That's your money. Because when you sign up for them, the CEO of that company essentially goes to Washington, D.C. and says, hey, we just signed up, yada, yada, yada. Give us that person's money. And so they pocket the difference. So they hope you don't use it. So use it. Use it. I think if one person were moved to another place, our world might be able to heal some. Okay. Let's see. All Americans should have healthcare as needed. If Canada can do it, the U.S. should be able to do it. A healthier population would benefit the entire country. Yeah, I'm a big fan of, everybody should have some type of, healthcare, not necessarily health insurance, cut out the middleman and save us unbelievable amount of money, but healthcare, the emergency room shouldn't be our primary care physicians and people shouldn't have to put off, needed surgeries or something, because it usually just costs the country so much more because of it. So, and then people say, well, Canada's long lines. It depends on the province. Some provinces are really, really quick, and some provinces are not doing it well. We can do a better job than Canada. So, if you have Medicare A, can you decline Medicare Part B if you have work health insurance? Yes, you can. So, if you have creditable coverage, so if you're approaching 65 years old and you're wondering whether to sign up for Medicare, if you have creditable coverage, then you do not need to sign up for Medicare. So what is creditable coverage? If you are currently working and currently have health insurance from work, your work or your spouse's work has to be current employment, and your employer has 20 or more employees, then you do not have to sign up for Medicare Part B. If you want to start your Social Security benefits, you have to sign up for Part A at 65, but you can decline Part B. And then later on, when you stop working, and at that time, you can go ahead and sign up in what's called a special enrollment period. So I go over all of the details on my website again. Click on the Medicare part there and enrolling after losing your job, special enrollment period. So you just have to fill out a couple of forms, and guess what? I've got the links there, the 40B and the 564, and then you submit those to Social Security, and then you have to figure out what you're going to do for Medicare supplement or Medicare Advantage, something to cover those gaps. But absolutely, don't waste your money if you don't have to sign up for Part B. Don't. But some people don't technically have to sign up for Part B because they have health insurance from work, but sometimes they say, well, yeah, I have it from work, but it sucks. It costs too much. So whatever the case may be, or I've got special situations, I want extra health insurance. So those people, even though they don't have to sign up for Part B, some people just go ahead and do it because it's cheaper. You have to compare everything, and yeah. So, company by design. I received a waiver of advanced designation of representative payee. I didn't apply. I will follow up tomorrow with the Social Security office. Please explain why I received this waiver advanced designation. Yeah, it's basically you filed for benefits on, and this is a new thing Social Security just started with in the last year or so. That advanced designation that when you file for benefits, they say, hey, in the future, if something happens to you, and we can't, for some reason you're not unable to talk or whatever the case may be, do you have someone that we could reach out to? So that's kind of advanced designation. And if you didn't put anybody down there and you didn't want anybody down there, then that's probably why you received that. So it's probably not an issue. And you can change that at any time. So I didn't have the chance. To stay with original. I didn't have the chance to stay with original A and B before getting the Advantage plan I'm on now. I was automatically changed over and was told because of that I could not go back. So you can, yeah. So that's to get into a Medicare Advantage plan. You can pretty much do that anytime. Any year. Depends whatever month it is, depending on your particular situation. But yeah, after you are outside of your initial enrollment period for Medicare supplement plans, depending on your state, yeah, you might be stuck, unfortunately, with a Medicare Advantage. You might not be able to go back to original Medicare and get a Medicare supplement. So unless you move or you lose your Medicaid or the Medicare, one of the things that happened this last year was a lot of companies canceled a lot of plans, Medicare Advantage plans throughout the country. And there were a lot of people that in my live Q&A, there was like, I hope my company cancels me. I hope my company cancels me. Because when they cancel you, they'll send you a letter and they say, hey, we decided not to, do our plans in your area anymore. And then in the part of the letter, it says, because we're canceling you or abandoning you, you have the guaranteed issue right to get a Medicare supplement plan. So there's going to be a lot of changes this year for the 2026. I see different writing on the wall. I see them cutting back benefits for Medicare Advantage, but they also might really increase it. It depends on, the board of directors of these companies, because it looks as though they've negotiated with the government to get more money. And you're like, oh, if the Medicare Advantage plans get more money, then they'll give us more benefits. But they're also under a lot of investigation and they've got a lot of lawsuits they're taking care of. So they might take that money and pay their lawsuits and still cut back benefits because, the CEO needs that new 100-foot yacht. So, and we got to get him that yacht. Our kids can only have 2 dolls, but they can have 3 yachts. So if we get drug coverage through the VA, should we still sign up for Part D plan? It depends on you. If you don't sign up for Part D when you're supposed to, if you have a Medicare Advantage, most of those include a Part D plan. But if you don't, then if you don't have any type of Part D plan, and if you don't sign up when you're supposed to, if you change your mind and sign up later, then you're penalized. 1% for every month you did not sign up for Part D. But if you never need it, then you're not penalized. So it really depends on your situation. If you have the VA and in terms of drugs, you're happy with it and everything, then yeah, don't necessarily need it. But if something happens to the VA and they start cutting back and, whatever the case may be, then yeah, you might need it in the future. So you kind of really have to throw the dice on that one. But most people, I'm not speaking about your particular situation, but most people with the VA, they don't get a Part D plan. because the VA has pretty awesome drug benefits. So. Tweety Bird, problem with Advantage plans is that doctors and even hospitals aren't necessarily contracted with insurance companies. January 1 to December 31st can change mid-year sometimes. Then you would, yes, yes. Unfortunately, you see those all the time. Hospitals and clinics and doctors groups decide to no longer take Medicare Advantage plans because they're tired of the cheap reimbursement rates. They're tired of the paperwork. They're tired of the denials, and they just said, forget about it. We're not taking Medicare Advantage plans anymore. So that's why if you have a Medicare Advantage plan, a Medicare Advantage plan, you just have more work cut out for you. If you're able to get a Medicare supplement, people sign up for Medicare supplement and they keep it for decades and they don't have to do anything. You can every now and then check the price of your Medicare supplement plan. If you have a Medicare supplement plan F, G, or N or whatever, and you want to save some money, you can check out to see if there's a cheaper plan any time of the year. But you might have to go through health underwriting depending on your state. You can reach out to Chapter and say, hey, Dr. Ed said call and see if you can save me money on my plan N, G, or F. And they'll ask you a few little medical questions, and then they'll see if a company will accept that. And if so, then might save you some money. You can do that 365 days of the year. But in terms of Medicare Advantage, you just have to keep up with it every single year to make sure you're receiving the best one. So from what I understand, you must have Medicare Part B to qualify for Tricare, which is a supplemental for life. I don't think Tricare is part of or run by the VA. Yeah. So it's, Department of Defense and stuff. But yeah, you have to have Part A, Part B. Yep. Great program today. I'm watching and scanning your new website, and honestly, it's so professional. It looks like or maybe better than a government agency website and so comprehensive. That's what I was looking for. I was looking to do SSA and Medicare.gov in English. And I think, my son, we're trying to figure out a way to organize everything. And I think that he came up with these tabs here. And that way you can go into retirement and you can just see, click on the particular tabs and frequently asked questions. So I think he did an awesome job in telling me how to organize it. So let's see. Do doctors in a university system know a person is on SSDI and Medicare, or does that get handled by the billing staff? Yeah, most doctors, they hate dealing with all that kind of stuff. I'm sure they leave it to their billing staff. So, Robert, the people at Chapter are extremely helpful and answered all my questions. Oh, awesome. Good deal. Yeah, that's one thing my son and I did not want to get involved in was Medicare plans and Medicare supplements and Advantage. And so we're like, yeah, we're just going to, help people with, Social Security and stuff, and Medicare Part A and Part B. But there's so many people out there, so many Medicare insurance agents and companies that were just not doing the right thing. So we look for a company that would help out, and Chapter is just knocking it out of the park. So, and don't forget, Robert, if they helped you find a better plan and you enrolled in another plan, supplement or Advantage or D or whatever the case may be, remember, one of the reasons we chose them is because they have that after service member success team, which most people, most companies say they do, but they don't really. So 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, whatever the case may be, if you need to find a doctor, if you get some type of weird bill that you don't understand, if you get a prior, denial, call Chapter, and because they just don't enroll you and forget about you. They've got that member success team, and they'll help you navigate all of that and make sure you're taken care of. So make sure you take advantage of that second part. Government still knows how to mess over vets. Retired Army, 25 years, Tricare Prime was $37 a month. I hit 65 and it went to $185. So the $185 is Medicare Part B. So, Susan, does the SSA offer online reconsideration decisions? Well, the SSA 561, you can download that and send it up through the system. But the decision, when you get a reconsideration decision, it's emailed to your. Well, if you got the My Social Security thing and you choose paperless, then they'll email you the decision. If not, they'll send you the old snail mail. Yep. Um, Peggy, I don't have a dual advantage, but if Trump's big beautiful bill passes, will it affect those who have a dual plan, which includes Medicaid? Actually, I did a video on this a couple of days ago about all of the cuts on Medicaid, and I found something else that, yeah, I'm going to do, I think, a video on this tomorrow. So stay tuned on that. Let me see. Callie Living asks, does alimony, gifts, or rental income reduce Social Security benefits? No. If anything other than SSI, Supplemental Security Income, which is the needs-based program, if we're talking about retirement, no. SSDI, no. Spouse benefits, no. Surviving spouse benefits, no. Divorce spouse benefits, no. So pretty much no. Rental income, unless your business, you have a company that rents, a whole bunch of, but if you have just like an Airbnb, then no, none of that affects your Social Security benefits in terms of the annual earnings limit. That's probably what you're talking about yeah. What is your website? Okay, let me, www. This is another format. All right. Let's see. Why do people or Advantage plans want to come to house and see people? Why do people on Advantage plans want to come to the house and see people? Not sure. Or what we talk about Medicare insurance agents, yeah, they, so if you have a Medicare insurance agent that once comes out to your house, part of to do a compliant presentation about helping you enroll in a Medicare plan, if they just talk about Medicare Advantage plans, then I would turn them in. They're not just supposed to, direct you to a Medicare Advantage plan. They do that because they make more money doing that. But that is not a compliant presentation, is what Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services. If someone is going to enroll you in a Medicare plan, they're supposed to tell you your options. They're going to say, okay, there's Medicare supplements and there's Medicare Advantage plans. And then they tell you the difference. But, if you're new to Medicare, they're supposed to give you the whole spiel. If you've been receiving it for a while and you want to check your Medicare Advantage plan, they're supposed to check and say, okay, Medicare supplement, but you're outside of your enrollment period and you can't get a Medicare supplement regardless. So then they stop talking about Medicare supplement plans because it's just wasting their time and your time. And if you can't get it, but at least they should evaluate it and say, okay, there's these Medicare supplement plans, and because of your particular situation, you can't get anyway. So let's find you the best Medicare Advantage plan. So I really don't understand how Medicare and Tricare for life really work. Any additional information will be great. Yeah, just Medicare becomes the primary care. Rena, I wouldn't worry about it. Yeah, just go to your doctor, do your thing, and let the billing department worry about it. You just hand them your two cards. You hand them your Tricare for life, and you hand them your Medicare card, and let them worry about, okay, and this particular thing, Medicare pays first and Tricare pays second, or this particular thing, Tricare. Yeah, don't worry about that. Let them figure, because that changes on a regular basis. I wouldn't worry about it. I would just take care of your health, go there, hand them the cards, and then be done with it. So thanks, Bella. We'll work full time or maybe a year before totally stopping. Bank it up. Yep. All right, let's see. TIZ. Look, some of us can't afford the supplement plans. Yes. I have an Advantage plan with a give back. Yep, there you go. You have to stay on top of it. It's better than having no insurance. 100%. 100%. I always say, check out the Medicare supplement plans. And if they're not for you, then Medicare Advantage. So let's see. See what other kind of, we'll rewind and see what I have missed. Army Desert Storm veteran. Okay. Yes. And yes, this will also be, anytime I do a live like this, it immediately goes back on YouTube, and it shows on the live so that you can replay it anytime. So Semper Fi, thank you for your service and support. Thank you. Let me get some people I don't recognize here, some new people. Daryl, I don't think I've seen you before. Hey, Daryl. If getting divorced soon and the only income that I have will be making is my disability pay from the VA plus my Social Security and a small Air Force retirement payment, do I need to file for my income tax? Yeah, I don't do taxes. So sorry. But on my website, under retirement, I've got a section on taxation. It's not very much because I don't do taxes, but you can click on this little button there where it says calculate your taxable benefits. And here is kind of whether you pay taxes on Social Security benefits. And I also need to include um, there is a link at the IRS that tells you whether you even have to file for taxes. So it asks you about 6 or 7 questions. And if you answer no to think all or most of those questions, then it says, yeah, you don't even have to file a federal income tax. You might have to file a state income tax, but I need to remember to put that link on there. So I'll make a note of it right now. Okay, I'll add that link on there. If you create a Social Security account online, you can see your projected benefits. Click in the retirement section. Yes. And the most important thing about that is I recommend everybody go online and check. And the most important thing is when you go in there, check your earnings record. Because as I mentioned, Social Security determines your benefit amount by your high 35 years of earnings. So if your earnings record is correct and incorrect in Social Security, that means your benefit amount is incorrect. So make sure you go in there, make sure you tell everybody once tax season is done, you say, hey, it ain't done until you go into Social Security, mysocialsecurity.gov, and confirm that those earnings got to Social Security. So what if my deceased wife didn't work? Can I still get survivor benefits? No. If they did not work, did not pay into Social Security, then there's nothing there to claim on. So, the premiums for Medicare supplement and Part D are expensive. Medicare Advantage. Yeah, that's the number one reason people don't get a Medicare supplement plan is because of the monthly premium. Yeah. And then so you'll have a monthly premium for the Medicare supplement plan, for a plan N, average nationwide is about $80 a month. A plan G is about 120 average-ish throughout the year or throughout the country. And then so you'll have to pay, about $100 average on that. And then you'll have to get a Part D plan. That could be zero premium per month or $10 or $20, depending on what prescriptions you take. And then you still have to pay the $185 for the Part B. So yeah, you're looking at about $300 a month or so. So that's the number one reason people don't get a Medicare supplement plan is they just can't. It's just not in their budget. So if it's not in your budget, it's not in your budget. So then get a Medicare Advantage and make sure you keep up on it. So let's see here. Ohio farmer, the VA screwed my former tenant out of his veteran benefits. File an appeal anytime, anybody, any government agency does something you think is incorrect, then 100% file an appeal and say, hey, that shouldn't have happened, eligible, entitled to those benefits. All right, we're getting close to the hour here. Let me find some other that I don't recognize. Dorothy, a few months ago, my congressman sent a letter stating I am eligible for GPO payments. I have not heard anything and wondered if I need to apply for the benefit. Yeah, your congressman. Well, that's kind of awesome that they did that, but that's not it. You actually have to file. So this is part of the Social Security Fairness Act. So you were government pension offset, 2/3 of your non-covered pension offset what you would receive from your spouse or divorced spouse or surviving spouse. But if you were actually on the record receiving, then you should be good. But if you haven't received a check now, that means something missed. So you need to contact Social Security and say, hey, I'm already on the record. What's going on? If you're not on the record, then you need to file a new claim for those survivor benefits. That's what I'm afraid of. I'm going to do another video this week about this because I still think there's tens of thousands of people out there in a situation like yours where when you originally filed for benefits, they said, well, if you file, you're not going to get anything anyway because of that GPO, and they didn't file. And those people are completely oblivious to the fact that now they can file and get and can get benefits. So I'm going to do another video on that this week. I always hate doing those because everybody else says you're lying. Nobody's getting this money, and it's yeah, the 97% aren't getting that money. I agree. I my contention is y'all should, but 3% are getting that money. So, and hopefully you are one of that 3%. All right, we are over an hour, and I still got a lot of questions. I apologize, not able to get to the rest of them there, but I will be back again tomorrow. And I think tomorrow I'm going to talk about Medicaid and this thing that hopefully doesn't happen, but it looks as though it will. So y'all take care. And thank a veteran, and thank anybody you know in your family or friends that lost a family member in the line of service. Y'all take care. Have a beautiful night. Please, please, please take care of each other.